time to find out about the beginnings of the Kotturuh. Welcome to the Time Lord Victorious Canon Update. Hi, I'm Phil, and every week there is a release as part of the Time Lord Victorious multi-platform Doctor Who event. I will be here to summarise the bullet points and how it ties in to the overall event, how it links into the other releases we've had so far and that we might be getting in the future, and just generally give you an overview of how the stories that came out that week tie into the event, so that if you're not getting every single one of the stories but are sampling bits of the event, you can see how the other bits you're not getting tie into it. Only one entry this week, and it's a short story that you can read for free, which I suppose kind of makes this video a little redundant, because why would you not go get it? It's free, won't cost you any money or really much time because it's a short story. You could I read it in like 5 minutes. So, I mean, you could just go do that. Probably take a lot less than it would to watch this video. But I'm a completist, and I feel like I still needed to make this video to make sure that I cover every story in Time Lord Victorious, even though you could probably go get this yourself. The link to this short story was sent out in the Doctor Who official newsletter, email newsletter. At the time of recording, it went out yesterday on Friday, which was later than they said it was going to be out. They said it was going to be out on Wednesday, and it only came out on Friday. Don't know what happened there. But if you missed out on that because you didn't subscribe to the email in time, I don't know if they're going to make it available like more widely on the website or something like that. But I think the link will work if you click it down below in my description to take you there. You just need the password darktimes. So maybe click on that link and it will take you to the story. It's worth a read because I'm just going to be summarizing the bullet points. You still want the meat of the story here if you can get it, and like I say, it's free, why wouldn't you? So this is going to be a very short episode of the Canon Update because it's a short story. That's all I'm summarizing, so there's not that much that we learnt. But what did we learn in the Dawn of the Kotturuh? Well, first of all, from the publicity material and synopsis of the event and various things we've got, we already know what the Kotturuh's bag is. We know that they like to go around bestowing lifespans on people. What we get is a little bit more background on that. I called it an origin at the beginning. It's not so much an origin as... And I'll explain why in a second. What we do get to see is that the very first planet in our universe that they judge is called... the bridge... Should have worked out how to pronounce this first, shouldn't I? The planet is called Buringi, I think. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's spelled like this, I'll put it on the screen. That is the first planet they visit in our universe to bestow a lifespan upon. And on this planet, the dominant species is one that once resided in big cities, but has kind of contracted slightly and has gone back to living in a very sort of village-style lifestyle. So their cities became villages again. And that plays an important part later on in the story. Now before this, the story tells us that every single race in the universe at that point in the Dark Times was immortal, barring accidents. Now that barring accidents is interesting because in the comic series which we saw from Doctor Who magazine, where the Gallifreyans of the Dark Times are talking to the Ninth Doctor, they seem to imply that it wasn't just barring accidents, that they were immortal full stop. So there seems to be a little bit of a contradiction there. It's not completely out of the realms to headcanon it, or that there might be an explanation later, or that I've simply misread something. But it seems at the moment that there might be a slight contradiction there, because the Gallifreyans in Monstrous Beauty seem to be acting like death is a completely new thing to them. They call it the ultimate. Whereas here it's said that people died via accidents, and the examples they give, one of the examples they give in a humorous way is an infected toenail. But people just don't die of old age in this Dark Times universe. We get a bit more of a description of the Kotturuh, including that their calculations that they're making are flickering over their robes. So we can assume that the symbols that we've seen on their robes in the pictures that have been released are probably those calculations, I would have thought. And I mentioned in the last episode of the Canon Update that their tentacles in the Doctor Who annual looked like they were made of some kind of crystal material. We get a name for that here. They refer to it as Shimmerstone. Another bit of information we get about their appearance is that their faces are wrapped in bandages sewn with gold, with words from a time even before the Dark Times. Now, given that the Dark Times are meant to be fairly near the beginning of our universe, how is them before the Dark Times? Well, universes before ours existed before the Dark Times, and it is revealed in this story that the Kotturuh were doing their thing in the universe prior to this one as well. At the beginning of that universe, they went around and bestowed lifespans on all the whatever lived in the universe before this one, and the one before that, and the one before that. It seemingly implies that they have been around in every single universe, bestowing lifespans upon species. We don't know why they're doing this, but it does say that they feel it's their duty to assess these species and their potential and what they can bring to the universe, and therefore bestow an appropriate lifespan based on that, based on what they can contribute to the universe. So in this story, we get them arriving on the planet and kind of just standing there, statue still, very stoic, doing their calculations, thinking things over. As they describe it, tasting the potential of the timelines of the species on the planet. And that's all they do. They just stand there. People see them, wonder what they're doing, and eventually one woman goes up to them. Her name, and I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce this, could be Majoral, could be Mahoral. She approaches them and engages them in a discussion. And that's when we find out the information about them, their mission, and that they feel it's their duty, and the stuff about the previous universes. And the fact that they can see potential timelines. Not necessarily exactly what's going to happen, but potentials. So they can see the potential in species. They can see how it might go. And they can also see where species might have already gone wrong. So on Buringi, they determine that this dominant species has wasted its potential and doesn't have much potential for the future, because they've regressed back to this sort of village life, that they have gone from having these towering cities back to small villages. And therefore, the Kotturuh only allocate them a lifespan of 3 months, which means immediately anyone over that age dies. But there is a species on the planet which they determine is worthwhile and may bring some kind of use to the universe in the future, and that is an insect species, the crystal moths. So they're allocated a longer lifespan. Now, I have questions, obviously, from this. I mean, allocating a 3-month times lifespan to a race that have previously been immortal, what happens with reproduction there? Does the biology all rejig? Do they suddenly start reproducing at 1 month old or something? Or does the species just die out? These are questions we don't have the answers to from this story, but definitely ones that got raised in my head. And that is what I think are the main bullet points for what we learned from this story, and how it might, things that might tie in to other books and to the audios and things, and to the wider story as a whole. I'd say the most significant information from all of that we learned is the stuff about them having existed before our universe, and having done exactly the same to the universe before us, and intending to do it to the universes after us, presumably, as well. So, as I said, in the sense that I called this an origin in the intro, it's not really an origin for the species, it's merely the start of their mission in our universe. The first of their attempts to bestow lifespans on people. But their history clearly stretches a lot further back, and we don't know anything about it, really. Next week, the first of the novels tying into Time Lord Victorious is out, but I think it's going to be a bit of a stretch for me to get a video out next weekend and cover that, because the book comes out on Thursday, I think. There's no guarantee I'll receive it on Thursday either, so I think I'm going to really struggle to finish reading that, write up all my notes and everything by the weekend, and get the video recorded. So I'm going to roll that one in to the following week's Canon update. So there won't be one next week, there will be a mammoth one the week after. Because not only will it be covering the first novel, we also have the first 2 Big Finish audios released that week, the 2 Master short trips, and then we also have the second issue of the Titan comics is out as well. So there's going to be a lot to cover in the next Canon update. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and of course share it around for people that might be interested in it. You know, all that jazz. I've been Phil, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.